Hello, and welcome to another monthly reading from Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen, an Australian sociologist with a primary interest in the language of colour as it pertains to the way in which people view each other and also in the way in which we act in our everyday lives. This month, I've decided to choose a new oracle that I received just recently. It's by Sharina Starr, and it's called the Fortune Oracle. There aren't very many cards in this, but I have noticed that the cards that do exist here are really quite interesting. So hopefully they'll help us along our journey in May, because we've had a couple of really torrid months. Everyone in the world has been subjected to quite a high level of anxiety. And I hope that this month's readings for May 2026 will help to curb some of that anxiety and bring us all back down to earth and to a situation where we can actually be kind to one another. So let's get started, shall we? To begin with, let's select an oracle card to help us along and give us some extra definition to the colour reading. As you can see, my shuffling has not improved at all. Anyway. Okay, we'll pop the card over here. So let's now look for some colours for people born in August. And what we need here is a combination that will be a strength to aid you in August. And we have purple on orange. We need what will be the obstacle to overcome, and that is pink on pink. And what skills are available to you to aid you along the way. And here we have cyan on red. Purple on orange is a challenge, and as a strength, it's an interesting challenge because orange in the internal world is always about having more than enough confidence and courage and ability to overcome whatever is sent in your way. You're feeling confident. You're feeling as though everything that you've done in the past has led you to this situation now, and as you move forward, you know exactly what to do in what situations because you have survived so many things in the past. The need for those survivals has come through as purple. Purple is the colour associated with change, with catastrophic change quite often, but it's also the colour associated with imagination. So when you have been challenged to overcome some issue, you have indeed thought about it, imagined yourself in a situation that is similar, perhaps from the past, or imagined how you would deal with that issue in the future. And then having put that into operation, you find that you are able to heal whatever it is that is coming your way, because purple ultimately is also the colour of healing, of well-being, of making things better. But that imagination is also closely aligned with your ability to connect with spirit. It's the color that is closest to black, and black, of course, is the ultimate in spiritual awareness. So here we have an ability to overcome issues, overcome anything that comes your way, because you have got some sort of belief system that enables you to pull out whatever is necessary in order to help you heal and make things better, not just for yourself, but also for those around you. The obstacle that you face is an interesting one. It's the same color in the real world as it is in the internal world, and that always creates a bit of a problem. Because when there is no differentiation between the two colors or the two positions, then you have a limited ability to deal with whatever the issues are that are coming towards you. Pink on pink is all about the ultimate invulnerability. It's also about the ultimate in love. When we are vulnerable, when we are in need of assistance, we often find that people will come to our assistance. But as an obstacle, that assistance may or may not necessarily be what you actually want. As an obstacle, it often isn't what you want. People will impose upon you what they think is necessary for you to do or necessary to be done to you, and you have very little say in the outcome. Pink internally is always a need for love, for attention, for someone to come and help. Pink in the external world is the inability to say no. You cannot resist, you cannot overcome, you cannot fight, which is quite in contrast to what your strength is. Your strength is that you are used to surviving. You're used to surviving calamity, catastrophe, but also able to create healing and recovery as a result of your ability to survive. The pink on pink says you can't say no, and your energies have been depleted because pink is a very, very pale form of red. Red is passion and life and energy, and you don't have a great deal of it as your obstacle. So what does that bring us to when we look at the skills that are potentially there for you to assist in overcoming whatever this problem is with the pink? You have cyan on red. Red internally is passion, it's energy, it's activation. It's also suppressed anger and rage. So here we have feelings that need to be put under control. And what are you doing to control it? Well, in the real world, you're creating relationships, you're creating the sort of peace and harmony and comfort that is necessary for you to feel as though, yes, you are able to maintain all of your energy inside. You're ready at any moment to pop out and use that energy, but in the real world, life is going along quite calmly, quite patiently, quite quietly, and you really don't need to do that just yet. Now, the interesting thing about cyan and red is that they are opposites on the color wheel, which means that there is a suppression of one in order to suppress the other, or an activation of one in order to activate the other. So cyan in the real world means that it is suppressing your energies, you're being kept under control by yourself. Red in the internal world means that you are barely able to contain your enthusiasm for life, your ability to get out there and do things, and perhaps even do dangerous things, because red always is a warning that danger might just be there. And in the real world, the cyan is holding you back. It's keeping you contained. Your energies are there. It's like a tight spring being compressed, and at any time it can spring loose and do things in the real world. Sometimes they can be quite destructive. So let's have a look at the colors that are missing, because these are important in helping you along the way. You have no black, you have no white. You do have red, there's no yellow, there's no green, you don't have blue or brown, but you do have orange, there's no gray, you have purple, you have pink, and you have cyan. Now, these colors here, the ones that are missing, are all about the skills that you're not currently using. And I'd like you to look at them and determine which of these colors is the most appealing to you and which is the least appealing. And then use those colors throughout the month of May in your life to help enhance the colors that you are using. Because the colors that you are using are, in fact, the ones that are causing this creation of that obstacle of not being able to say no, not being able to resist other people's demands on you, on your time, your energy, whatever. And in using these colors that are missing, you're actually enhancing those skills and helping to move them on. I'm not going to go into them this month because I have quite a lot of information on these already. If you're interested in finding out what they mean, there is an entire series on each of these colors as an individual, distinct personality type. I advise you to go and have a look at it. But right now, what I want to look at is how these colors interact with one another. Here we have purple and orange. Here we have pink. And here we have cyan on red. Now, leaving aside the cyan on red for the moment, let's now examine what happens when we interact between these. If we take the purple from the real world and we add to it the pink from the internal world here, we end up with purple on pink. Now, purple on pink is an interesting combination because in many ways they reflect a very young person, very young at heart or young in action. Pink internally is the baby color. It's a need to be looked after. Babies need to be looked after because there is nobody or there is nothing that they can do for themselves without somebody else's assistance. Purple, on the other hand, is child energy. Children tend to play. They will do things that will destroy things and they will build things. They are in a state of learning through experience. And here we have both the baby and the child in the same pairing. That can be a rather interesting combination because it allows you to continually recreate things that you have felt have been destroyed. So whenever you're told no, or you're not allowed to do something, in the real world, your imagination then is activated so that you begin to see an alternative path to lead you somewhere else, so that you can find yourself doing those things regardless of how much restriction there is upon you as a result of the pink internally. On the other hand, we can also put the pink over orange. Now, when we have pink and orange together, what we have here is a need, a drive internally to overcome a challenge, to survive a conflict, to do something that enables you to feel as though you have confidence and are capable of doing whatever is necessary. In the real world, however, pink says, no, you can't. You don't have the energy. You don't have whatever is necessary for you to enable you to move forward, to overcome whatever that challenge is that's coming at you. So whereas the purple over pink enables you to imagine and perhaps even act on the way in which you can overcome a challenge, pink over orange says, no, you can't. So it's a stop-start situation that's coming for you if you allow just those to be activated. So let's see what happens if we then move to include the skills that are potentially there for you. Now here, if we have purple and we cross it with the red underneath here we have fire energy. This combination enables you to take on any challenge. You have all of the energy, all of the activity, the passion, the rage, the ability to fight and survive, packed in with the ability to make changes as you see fit. This is powerful energy. This enables you to get out there and fight for what you want. On the other hand, we could also put the cyan over orange. Now, cyan over orange also enables you to fight for what you want, but instead of doing it in an active way, this is a rather passive way of doing things. If you fight for what you want and you achieve it, then you feel as though you are confident in your ability to create peace and harmony in your external world. That's a very powerful set of strengths. How does it work with your obstacle, however? If we put pink over red, then the obstacle that you create here is that you're likely to do something foolish in a passionate moment that will enable you to either create new life. In other words, this is the pregnancy combination. That is, you start off in a different direction, you create a new, it doesn't necessarily have to be a pregnancy in terms of babies, but it is a project that you begin in some other direction. But it's not a planned one, because this is an obstacle. It is not a strength. If it was a strength, then this would be a planned operation, a planned situation where you were creating something. This is unplanned. So that's a danger that you are likely to come into. The red internally says, stop, hold on, don't do. And the pink in the real world says, I can't stop it. On the other hand, you could also have the pink in the internal world opposing the cyan in the real world. Now, this is the absolute wonderful combination that is called bliss. Pink internally is, I am vulnerable to everything. I can't stop anything. I am attractive to everything, because having that baby energy internally means that you tend to attract other people's or other things that attend to you. And in the real world, what that creates for you is bliss and harmony and comfort. So in effect, the cyan on red is both a driver to cause you to make sure that you are taking charge of the changes in your life, but it's also an ability here with the cyan over pink to create the sort of blissful and harmonious life that you want out of the problem that you have, the obstacle that you need to deal with, and is tied together with this ability to survive. Interesting combination. Let's now have a look at what the oracle has to say about it. What you have here is luck. You are right to be strong and optimistic about the opportunities ahead. Opportunities are made here by you determining what you want out of life and going for it, knowing that you can survive any change, any challenge, because you've done so before. And at the same time, you can create that bliss and harmony within your life simply by allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the opportunities that are there for you. Luck is not only what you need to overcome the obstacle here, but it also is what is coming to you in money. I wish you lots of it. Good luck, of course. Well, there's one thing for sure, and that is, even though we've had a rough number of months, February, March, and April, May doesn't really offer us all of the wonderful future that we might be hoping for. There's still going to be struggle. There's still going to be a need to reevaluate where we are going, what we are doing, what we want out of life. If your reading resonates with you, then certainly I urge you to make use of those missing colours, because they will make a difference to the way in which May 2026 works out for you. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for the month, and I'll see you again at the beginning of June. May the colours of your life bring you all the things that you need for your own happiness and higher good. Catch you next time. Bye.